So this lesson looks at renaming mixed numbers into improper fractions and renaming improper fractions into mixed numbers and simplifying fractions. So this is a good lesson to come back to as a refresher. So my directions here say write the mixed number as a fraction. So a mixed number is when you have a whole number and a fraction glued together. So I have 1 and 1/8. In order to turn this into a mixed number, I can do a few things. The first way is I can take the 8 and I can multiply it by the 1. I can say 8 times 1 is 8. And then I can take that product and I can add it to the top. So I can now say 8 plus 1 is 9. And that gives me my new numerator. Now, my denominator is going to stay exactly the same, which is 8. So my mixed number turned into a fraction is 9/8. And this 9/8 is called an improper fraction because your top number, your numerator, is larger than your bottom number, your denominator. Let's do another problem. The mixed number is 1 3/5. So if I follow the same steps as I did for the previous mixed number, I'm going to take my denominator and I'm going to multiply it with the whole number. So 1 times 5 is 5. Now I'm going to take that product and I'm going to add it to my numerator. 5 plus 3 is 8. And that becomes my new numerator, and my denominator will stay the same as my fraction. So my mixed number turned into an improper fraction is 8/5. Now you might see where you have a problem and you have a numerator that is larger than the denominator, which is what these two fractions are. These are called improper fractions, and we cannot have improper fractions as our final answers. So we need to turn them into mixed numbers. And in order to do that, we need to divide. This fraction line here is actually saying 11 divided by 4. So my top number, my numerator, will become the number under the house, and my 4 will be my divisor on the outside. So now I'm just dividing. I'm saying 4 times what number gets me close to 11? Well, 4 times 2. So my 2 is going to go above this 1, and then I multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract, and I get 3. I have nothing left to bring down. I can't divide it again, so this becomes my remainder. Now, when I write this as my mixed number, my whole number comes from the quotient. So that becomes my whole number. Now, my numerator comes from the remainder, which is 3. I put my fraction line, and my denominator is going to stay the same as what my improper fraction was, which was my divisor, the 4. So it's kind of like I made a big circle with my answer. So my new mixed number is 2 3/4. Let's look at another one. I have 6/5. Remember, this is an improper fraction. My numerator is larger than my denominator. And in 5th grade, we cannot leave our answers this way. So we need to turn it into a mixed number. So in order to do that, I need to say 6 divided by 5, because that's what that fraction line means. So 6 becomes my dividend, 5 becomes my divisor. So 5 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract, you get 1. Your remainder is 1. So now to rewrite this, my quotient becomes my whole number. My remainder becomes my numerator, put my fraction line, and then my denominator will stay the same as what my original denominator was, which was my divisor, and that will be 5. So my mixed number is 1 1/5. So let's look at one more thing that you might encounter as you are adding, subtracting fractions or whole numbers. It's this idea of simplifying your fraction. In order to simplify, you are trying to divide the numerator and the denominator by the exact same number. And you know you're in simplest form when that exact same number that you can divide the top and bottom by is 1. So you need to keep trying until you can get this fraction as smallest as possible. Then you know you're in simplest form. So if I have 18/24, I'm going to ask myself, what numbers can I divide the top and the bottom by that are the exact same? Well, I'm going to say 2. I could do 2. I could say 18 divided by 2 and 24 divided by 2. But could I get bigger? Could I have a larger number that I divide by so it's less steps? Well, I could do 3. But I think I could get bigger. What about 4? 18 divided by 4? No. 24 divided by 4? Yes. But they both need to be divided. What about 5? Doesn't work. What about 6? Could I do 18 divided by 6 and 24 divided by 6? I could. So 18 divided by 6 gives me 2. 24 divided by 6 gives me 4. So 2/4, but 2/4 is not simplest form. I think I can still divide. So I'm going to say, can I do 2 divided by 2? Can I divide it by itself? And then could I divide 4 divided by 2? I can. So I'm going to say 2 divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 1/2 becomes my simplest form because my numerator is 1. And the only number I can divide 1 by is itself, 1. So that is simplest form. Let's look at this other fraction, 8/10. I have 8 and I have 10. What number could I divide the top and the bottom by? It has to be the exact same number. Well, I could do 2. I think 2 actually might be the only number. So let's try 2. Because remember, you're dividing the top and the bottom by the same number. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, well, my numerator is not a 1, so I need to just think. Can I divide anything by 4? Yeah, I could do 4 divided by 4, but could I do 5 divided by 4? Nope, doesn't work. What about 4 divided by 3? No, that doesn't work. 4 divided by 2. Yeah, 4 divided by 2 would be 2, but 5 divided by 2 doesn't work. So the only number that works is 1. And since 1 is the only number that works, and I get the same fraction, I was in simplest form. 4/5 is as small as I can go with my answer.